Trump just nuked the market, pun intended. He just sent some news out that he has deployed nuclear submarines with one of our biggest competitors. So we are having the market drop right now. The stock market, the crypto market, it was already a little bit weak for reasons that we talked about in the last video, including tariffs. And now it just got a little bit worse. I want to go through what I'm doing right now, how I view this, whether this is extremely bearish or is it actually bullish long-term for Bitcoin. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification, check out the link underneath the video to BTCC. They have a 20% deposit bonus. BYDefi has a $10,000 worth of XRP trading bonus right now, along with normal bonuses too that they have. But we run those promotions constantly on BYDefi, so you can actually stack them. Like just last month, we had Bitcoin. We had a Bitcoin bonus. Now we have an XRP bonus. Let me know in the comments if you want a different coin or if we'll just go back to Bitcoin and cycle through Bitcoin and XRP. But you can check that out. Also, there's a link to the Telegram. I just posted an exclusive video, what I'm buying right now, today, like what I'm buying today in the Telegram. I posted that as well just a few hours ago. And it's completely free. It's like a Patreon, but free. Now, we have news. The market is falling down. The Nasdaq's down like 2.5%. Bitcoin's down near range lows. And we actually talked a lot about that earlier in the video today. That was a monster. It was a 40-minute video if you haven't checked it out. This one's going to be much shorter. But we got news since then that Donald Trump has deployed 2 nuclear submarines outside of Russia because the former president of Russia had some choice words. So apparently they were threatening or something like that. So Donald Trump, with a show of force, showing, hey, we'll put nuclear subs right outside of your country just based on what you're saying to us. He said, hopefully they don't have to use it, but in case his words are more than just words, he wants this protection. So kind of interesting. That has the market worried for sure. Any kind of nuclear war always scares the market. But how many times have we heard about some war and then we just went up to new all-time highs? Like Ukraine, Russia, what was Iran recently, Israel, Iran. Like there have been countless wars and fears of war, and the S&P 500 hit a new all-time high in the last week. Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, what was it, last week? It sounds crazy, but it was just like last week or the week before. We've been over $110,000 for Bitcoin for like 3 weeks, and over 100,000 for 80-something days. So whenever there's worries about war, of course they can escalate, right? There will be some time where we get into another war and the market continues to drop. But generally, it's just an event that comes and goes, and the markets panic or de-risk a little bit, and then we go right back up to new all-time highs. Even if we get into a deep war or a real war, which this doesn't seem like we're that far along, it's just a little bit of extra fear about war, but it's not like, there's a back and forth and escalations and stuff like that. Even if we got into a war, do you think the US would stop printing money? No, of course not. They're going to print money probably like never before and devalue the dollar. Risk on assets or assets that go up with the M2 money supply, like the S&P 500 or like Bitcoin, will shoot up in value. Even if it's not initially so obvious, they will shoot up in value over time because investors need to find a place to put that money. So it goes on to the risk assets, to the assets that are hard money, the assets that are productive over time. So I'm not worried. Of course, we can go down short term. I talked about in my last video what I'm doing with my trades. I have layered buy orders. So I am ready in case we go down further. I'm completely fine. Of course, the majority of my bag is just in long-term buy and hold crypto, but I do use leverage on a portion of my portfolio, and it's a portion that I'm comfortable leverage trading. Of course, a lot of the positions are very low leverage, 3x positions. This is why I love low leverage, because I'm not worried about those positions being liquidated at all. And even the more aggressive positions. You know, their position size, so I'm not uncomfortable if I get liquidated. And I'll just keep on buying down because I have money on the sidelines for that ability. Now, of course, I want to hear your thoughts underneath the video. Of course, there's uncertainty about tariffs, but overall, we have more adoption of crypto than ever. We have more positive news about crypto than ever. We have more buyers of Bitcoin than ever. And the S&P 500 just had fantastic earnings. Fantastic. Or at least the biggest tech companies did, which is where I'm allocated towards. Then people will say, well, if that's the case, then why aren't we moving up? And we've talked about it, right? Uncertainty around war, uncertainty around tariffs, bad news about tariffs last night that the market doesn't like, which I don't think will really affect the U.S. economy all that much. I don't think it will affect the U.S. consumer that much, the tariffs that were announced last night. And of course, like, there are just liquidations and manipulators as well that want the market lower. So if you're panicking right now, you're either over leveraged or overexposed to crypto, or you just don't know what's really going on. A pullback like this is completely normal. We were just at all-time highs. Again, we constantly, in Bitcoin, constantly go up to new all-time highs, come back down, flip the prior resistance into support. If you don't know what I'm talking about, again, watch that last video. I go through that. I show the chart. So flipping 110, going down to 110 and then moving up, still extremely bullish in my opinion, long-term. But let me know what you're doing with your capital today. I have been buying some different equities, and I will be a buyer if we fall down further on crypto or if there's more uncertainty. Of course, there are a lot of buyers out there, but there are more sellers than buyers right now. That's why the price goes down, or they're willing to sell at a lower price than the buyers are willing to buy at, right? So we'll maybe see some bleeding over the weekend. Be ready for more volatility, maybe more escalation, right, from Trump. But long term, I think we're in a very good spot. Crypto is being adopted. I mean, heck, the SEC was just talking this week about how they want to tokenize basically everything. They sound like BlackRock. They sound like the financial institutions, but they want to bring a lot of assets into crypto and move them on chain. We have the president of the U.S. buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin. We have money printers being turned back on around the world. And yeah, there's a little bit of uncertainty, but I'm not too worried about that. This is why you dollar cost average long term, and you take the appropriate amount of risk, and you stay diversified with some cash on the sides. Of course, in a bull market, you're not going to make as much money as you could, but also you're going to be in the game for multiple bull markets if that happens. The key is to stay in the game and not to be psyched out. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Check out the Telegram. Check out BYDeFi and BitUnix week's BTCC underneath the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.